Okay, this is a reading for Gemini. I am going to see who you were in a previous life. Hang on, let me burn some tarot. I've just sat down. I just got back from work. It's very cold outside. It's pitch black. There's snow. I literally just got changed, got a glass of wine, and I need to burn some sage to just meditate a little bit. Oh, that's good. That's good. This is Dragon's Breath Sage, okay? So it's dyed red and it has spices infused in it. I just thought I'd mix it up a little bit. 'Tis the season and all that. Okay, thank you for being patient, Gemini. And let's see who you were in your previous life or lives. Spirit guides, universe and angels, please stand beside me and guide me for Gemini's highest good. Who was Gemini in a previous life? Right, we've got a chunk. Now, you were an intellectual. You were a philosopher, a scientist, a mathematician, or an inventor. That's always nice to find that out. You had a love affair. Your faith was mystical. You experienced trauma that involved a loss of status or reputation. You died from hypothermia. This took place during the Crusades and the Inquisition. You learned a lesson, and that was about power. You were a grandparent. And this all took place in Oceania. In a previous life, you were involved in instruction. So teaching, mentoring, academia, or some kind of master of the arts or master of something, okay? I'm sorry, but that smells good. I need a bit more. Right, you died by murder. This took place in Eastern Europe. You were traumatised by poverty. Your religion was an ethical religion. In love, you experienced abandonment. You were a devotee or a follower, that was your identity. The time frame for all of this was the High Middle Ages. The lesson that you learnt was about greed. And this all took place in Eastern Europe. I want some more of that, it's making me feel good. It helps you really like de-stress and relax after you've like just like work stressful and then you drive home and that's stressful. And like if you didn't sleep well, that's stressful. In fact, I do sleep well, I just stay awake. Because I'm like, I don't want to stop listening to tarot, or I don't want to stop, playing the computer, or I don't want to... Do you know what I mean? Been burning the midnight oil and getting up early. Right, you were in a previous life part of the rise of a civilization. You were a dreamer. You were an organiser. You were a planner or a developer. Well, that's very cool. This took place during the Age of Discovery. You identified as some kind of other relative. Your faith was prophet-led. Where this all happened was out in Russia. The lesson that you learned was in overcoming fear. Your love life was very promiscuous, okay? You were very sexually active with a lot of different people. A very passionate person. The trauma that you experienced was betrayal. In a previous life, you were involved in some sort of discrimination, social discrimination, religious discrimination, some kind of limitation or disease. You know, can see people discriminated against. Sexually, you can be discriminated against. Okay, so there was some kind of discrimination. So social discrimination would be like, you know, you were too poor for the rich people, or you were too rich for the poor people, or, you know, people saw you as average rather than like upper class. So yeah, people can get discriminated, anything you can think of where you might get discriminated against. So a religion, a social class, if you have disabilities, or if you were like maybe homosexual or bisexual or pansexual or transsexual, asexual, you know, all of these things make people a little bit discriminate. Well, not a little bit, some people there's heavy discrimination, you know. Let's get two more. In a previous life, poverty was very much an issue, okay? So you could have been lower class, you could have been dispossessed, you could have been a beggar, or you could have experienced famine. Your trauma was war. You lived in the Arctic. This was part of the Age of Enlightenment, so when science was being discovered. You were a mother. The love you experienced was polygamous or polyamorous. Okay, so you might have had a husband, but maybe they had many wives or something like this. You died by poison. Your faith was sacrificial, if I didn't say that already. Okay, in a previous life, you experienced the World War. You were either an Allied defender, an Allied invader. You may have been involved in Hiroshima or the Holocaust. Your trauma was that you experienced oppression. Your faith was fanatical. You were somebody's lover, but you became a spinster in later life. This was during the World War. You could have miscarried or died at birth. That's the cause of death for you, was a miscarriage and dying at, you know, childbirth. The lesson that you learned was to become more natural, okay? Okay, thanks, Gemini.